Welcome to today's deep dive. We've got a really wild mission custom tailored for you today.
Yeah, it's a bit unsettling, honestly.
Right. So we're looking at Boris Krieger's sweeping work, Decoherence of Social Systems. And we are unpacking this premise that humanity's bright ideas, things like democracy or capitalism, are actually behaving like biological tumors.
Which is a massive shift in how we view the world. I mean, usually you picture these systems as grand architecture.
Like we're building a beautiful cathedral to shelter us from the chaos of nature.
Exactly. But that cathedral metaphor assumes these structures are entirely benevolent. Krieger's reality is that human needs, like hunger, safety, belonging, they haven't changed a bit in 300,000 years.
Yeah, that makes sense. We still need the exact same basic things.
Right. The only thing that constantly changes is the ideological superstructure we invent to manage those needs. And he argues these systems operate exactly like cancer.
They start out trying to solve a real problem, but then they mutate.
Yeah, they grow autonomous. They just start consuming resources to keep themselves alive.
It's kind of like, imagine you hire a guy to deliver your groceries because you're starving, right?
Okay.
And he helps you out initially, but eventually he builds this massive corporate delivery empire and forces you to pay for a premium subscription.
Right, and you're still sitting there starving.
Exactly. While he is entirely focused on maintaining his quarterly growth.
That is a perfect analogy. And the biological parallel here is apoptosis, or programmed cell death.
Oh, right. Like when cells naturally die off?
Yes, in a healthy body, cells do their job, and when they are no longer needed, they naturally die to make way for new ones.
But cancer cells lose that ability.
Exactly, they refuse to die.
Yeah.
And Krieger points out that ideological systems and bureaucracies function the exact same way.
They fight for self-preservation.
Right, completely at the expense of the society they were originally meant to serve.
So if these systems always turn into tumors, why do we keep building them?
Well, think about 18th century France. The thinker, Henri de Saint-Simon, looked at the French aristocracy and correctly diagnosed that they were essentially parasites.
Sure, they weren't producing anything.
Right. So his proposed cure was to replace them with a technocracy governed by scientists and engineers, replacing birthright with competence.
Wait, I have to push back on that. Isn't a meritocracy putting the smartest, most capable people in charge to fix things? Isn't that actually a good idea?
On paper, absolutely. But pursuing any ideal to its absolute limit triggers what Krieger formally calls the asymmetry of totalizing ideals.
The asymmetry of totalizing ideals. Okay, what does that actually mean?
It means that when you enforce a perfect meritocracy, you have to create rigid tests to measure that merit.
Oh, I see.
And those tests become the only recognized way to succeed, which basically kills off anyone who solves problems in unique, untestable ways.
Oh, wow. So that destroys a system's adaptive variance.
Exactly. We lose our ability to adapt to the unknown because we've engineered out all the diverse, messy ways people naturally do things.
Total order actually makes a society blind and rigid.
Yeah. St. Simon meant well, but by trying to perfectly engineer society, he just designed a new, highly efficient tumor.
One that separated people even further from directly satisfying their needs.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So to understand what actually works, Krieger contrasts these vast ideologies with his own lived experiences.
Right. He lived in a kibbutz for a while, didn't he?
He did. And later he ran a homeless shelter. And in those micro-societies, he saw that they functioned beautifully through direct connection.
Like you see a hungry person, you hand them bread.
Exactly. There is no bureaucracy to navigate. The rot only set in when people tried to abstract, theorize, and systematize that basic compassion.
Pragmatically speaking, though, I mean, that localized approach is beautiful, but how do you scale a kitchen table to fit 8 billion people?
The brutal, liberating truth is that you can't.
Wait, you can't scale it at all?
No. Scaling that direct connection is the precise mechanism that turns it into a tumor. Yeah, the goal isn't to build a better global system. The goal is to stop replacing real, face-to-face human compassion with abstract concepts.
So the core takeaway here is that systems don't love us. Only people do.
That's the heart of it, and it leaves you with a really important question to mull over. If true human connection and need satisfaction only thrive on a small, untheorized scale, how should we individually approach raising the next generation?
Do we teach them to succeed within the tumors of modern institutions?
Or do we prepare them to actively dismantle those systems to reclaim their own humanity?
That is a heavy thought to leave on. Next time you look at the grand architecture of society, Ask yourself, are you looking at a beautiful cathedral or just an X-ray of a system that forgot how to stop growing?